We are continuing our discussion on image and colorism. This is week 3, and like the others, I have a subtopic, and this one is called Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Now, according to Wilder, what is learned from these narratives and the voices that we just heard, the internal scripts, is that in the midst of the 21st century, color plays an integral role in shaping the life experiences of these young Black women beyond that of race, class, and gender. Yet, what is noteworthy is how this form of internalized racism affects the attitudes, beliefs, and behavior of young Black women in much the same way that colorism did before the Civil Rights Movement, as illustrated by previous studies. And she says this is rather significant considering the large-scale disappearance of latent colorist practices, such as the brown paper bag test and the apparent integration of Black organizations and institutions that once excluded members based on their phenotypic features. Now, given the common color names, young women develop a sense about what it means to be light, dark, or brown skin, regardless of their own skin tone. Finally, important to highlight that while contemporary color names and color notions mirror the ideology of previous generations, the young women in the study share the firm belief that colorism, like racism, is much better in their generation because overt expressions of skin tone bias are just not a piece of Black history. Okay, or just now a piece of Black history, but as the group discussion progressed, she found that the participants realized just how much they were in fact affected by the various courses of colorism. These findings suggest, says Wilder, that all forms of colorism have been replaced with more quiet manifestations appearing through casual name calling, subtle comments, and carefully hit stereotypes. In this day and age, which is often characterized as a colorblind society, so-called, a discourse of attitude that minimize and downplay discrimination and racism, colorism too has become minimized and downplayed. However, the image may not be over, but the effects are still the same. Black women have had to transcend by their resilience and the build-up power to self-acceptance and boost their self-esteem. So thank you all. Next week, the last week, we'll give what I call the true definition of race, racism, racist, ethnic descent, stock, nationality, and culture. We'll take a look at some examples of colorism around the world with one surprising twist that I discovered. Lastly, we'll hear from a few teens who are a part of a group who are actually doing something about the colorism issue. And before we end, I'm going to call upon Miss Sojourner Truth. Now that man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helps me in the carriages or over mud puddles and gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered in the barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? And that little man in black there, he says women can't have as much rights as men because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with him. Now, if the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now they is asking to do it. The men better let them. Obliged to you for hearing me, and now old Sojourner ain't got nothing more to say.